tonight, we are really delighted, honored indeed, to have two of the most important poets, singing activists in the whole Bay Area, if not beyond. They are never not on it. Let me put it that way. You know what I mean by that. They have always been that way, as far as I've known them. We're going to hear from the masculine side first, and we'll save the feminine side for the finish. Lincoln has some things to say also, because he brought along, you know, he brought along some stuff that I want you to all have access to. So without any further ado, I'm going to invite Lincoln Bergman up. Thank you, everyone.
How's my sound here? Good. Excessive rhyme poem on spring. Can it be that spring has sprung when such joyful songs are sung? Lots of beetles pushing dung when the bells of spring are rung. I can taste it on my tongue. Honeybees are all well hung with pollen because spring has sprung. So thank you, Jack and Agneta and Byron and Judy and Sarah and all the other people who have this, especially Kathleen Williams, who dragged me kicking and screaming several years ago to a meeting of the Revolutionary Poets Brigade, and in other ways has helped me resurrect my poetry. It needed resurrection. Yeah. Thanks always for the constant encouragement and love of my two daughters, who are both here, and they're Caitlin and Anna, and their moms, Lisa and Gail. Anna's a New York City singer who will help me out a little bit later, and also my sister Miranda, who's on her way, and my Aunt Deborah LeSueur, who's Meridel LeSueur's daughter, who is sick, unfortunately, but I brought some books of Meridel's, and I'll tell you more about that. When Jack called me to ask me to share the reading with Carol, as Carol's opening act, is the way I look at it, I was thrilled because I so admire and respect her art and activism. I also realized in a few days it'll be 50th anniversary of my mother's death at a young age, an early death. For that and other reasons, March has always been very hard for me, but I've resolved to overcome that this year. Remember that word, overcome. And this poem was as a brief thanks to Mark, Marin, and Kathleen for some words of encouragement, but let us stand as my gratitude to all of you. What can I say? If I could play like Coltrane, say, or sing like Billie Holiday, then maybe I'd do justice to such friends as you who lift my mood. But failing that, I'll just exude my gratitude. And my Ayurvedic chiropractor, Helen in Santa Rosa, I asked her, she was doing a reading of Lisa, my wife, and I asked her, well, what do you say about March 14th? And she said, your mother's spirit is there, will be there. She didn't even know anything about it, and she said it, that's the way the planets lined up. And my mother's spirit is always with me every day, as is my brother, younger brother, Chris. There were times when we were young that Chris would play the piano, Miranda would play the violin, and I'd play the French horn better than I'm about to play it. And this is a song to my mother. I'm accompanied by Matthew Siegel, that is Cricket Seagull, on the flute, and just a little of the horn to start with to summon her spirit, and then I'll start talking and try to sing. Okay. Since she passed away, but I can still hear Mama say, when times were hard and clouds were gray, tomorrow another day. Tomorrow is another day, is another way to say, though the times be sad and blue, we'll have the strength to make it through. The years have flown, swift soaring birds, yet I can still hear Mama's words as we wander on our way. Tomorrow is another day. Sweet Mama dear, your love light shone, now your children all have grown. When we feel low, we hear you say, tomorrow is another day. That is what she used to say, and though I know now it's cliche, it's always helped me on my way. Tomorrow is another day. Oh, that was then, and this is now, and would someone tell me how we can create another way to bring the world a better day? Tomorrow is another day, is another way to say, though the times be sad and blue, we'll have the strength to make it through. You know, my mother was an artist, though a frustrated one, and my sister Miranda has become a great muralist. A little booklet over there about the Women's Building mural, which has just been all rejuvenated. And there she is. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Yes. And I imagine, my mother had died many years before, but I imagine my mother looking at that beautiful building, the Women's Building and the mural. And the new coating or chemical mix they have on it is assured to last for 100 years. When Mama saw your mural, she was filled with love and joy and radiance divine. Genetic recognition shone her smiling eyes in every line. When Mama saw your mural, she was proud, so proud of your great artistry, your wondrous leadership within a vibrant collectivity. When Mama saw your mural, how she laughed, burst into laughter, just to see her dreams transform, made real at last, reach out to all humanity. When Mama saw your mural, yes, she cried to see the overarching beauty there, right through the tears in vision glow, rainbow of woman spirit everywhere. Then Mama hugged and kissed you. You both felt many stories tall. Maestra piece, she whispered in your ear, then merged with all the women on the wall. I'm going to read a few more things from my mother because of the anniversary. I may go a little long, but Carol said that was okay, and she can too. So, my mother, when my sister was about to be born, wrote this poem sort of in my voice. Grow bigger, baby sister, so you can play with me. We'll run and jump and make mud pies and climb into the apple tree. Do you see me, baby sister? As I touch your downy hair, I'll let you play with all my toys, even Mr. Teddy Bear. Smile, baby sister, as I hold your tiny hand. We will have a lot of fun building castles in the sand from that side to this. In the news today, given the news today, my mother wrote this in 1951 during the Korean War. A Korean baby, newly born, lies dead in the bitter snow. Not ever to suckle, never to kick his little feet, never to smile into his mother's eyes. Korean mother, my sister across the distant sea, we shall avenge your nameless baby, unfulfilled, deprived, never to be replaced, no matter how many future children may be born. We will not let the world forget him, like Lidici, like Sacco and Vanzetti and the Jewish children murdered by the fascists. Your son, too, is numbered in our hearts. we shall avenge him. And a short little note. My mother used to say, standing at the kitchen sinks, no matter what they say, domesticity stinks. And this tells you a little bit more about my mother and about Meridel Lesueur, my great aunt, spiritual grandmother. There's some books of hers there. And Deborah, who I said was ill, her daughter is our aunt, is very close to us and helped us and continues to help us through the loss of our mother, me, and Miranda, and our brother Chris, who unfortunately died several years ago. Anne and Meridel poem. On November 13th, 1915, my mother Anne was born. Now she would be 97 years old. She died of bone cancer at 47, tragedy of infinite proportions, idealized by all of us. Much of it was deserved, extremely compassionate, wonderful with children, dedicated to a better world, intelligent, persuasive, articulate, loved devising new arts and crafts from ordinary materials at hand, frustrated by daily strains, only able to do a few paintings, no stranger to hardship and stress, subject to migraine, holding too much in. She radiated quiet, empathic warmth, had a gentle way of understanding, a true connection of the heart. Then the awful shock, the awful toll. Meridel Lesueur spoke as we sat a sort of Shiva, of the light in my mother's eyes, her special luminance of spirit. On the 14th of November, 1996, Meridel ripened into death, as old as the year. Born in 1900, February 22nd, saw Halley's Comet twice, once when she was 10, and once when she was 85. She leaves behind a body of work, songs of the spirit, writings of so many kinds, children's stories, global poetry, voices of women most oppressed, the people on the prairies of democracy, solidarity wherever in the world the freedom river flows, a long and lucid life, lessons, a woven blanket of native wisdom and relationship. Shy, yet indomitable, she leaves behind a fierce and loving clan, commitment to struggle, compass of guidance amidst imperial onslaught, resolute resistance against the daily decay of greed. Her own luminance of spirit shines like harvest moon. What is Meridel to me? Grandmother of our history, song of people bursting free for socialist democracy. What's Meridel to Mother Earth? Chant of struggle, death, rebirth. Hard labor is of priceless worth. Add laughter, celebration, mirth. What is Meridel to me? Seek native wisdom's clarity. Hold close and root hold harmony. To solve use indigenuity. What is Meridel to me? Global voice of poetry. Encourager of artists to be. Optimistic irreverency. What is Meridel to us? Mother of Rachel and Deborah, with Rosa on the Freedom Bus. Justice, peace, or world will bust. How to tell of Meridel? She cast a spell, did Meridel. In her youth a movie belle, she was real swell, was Meridel. Her pen repression could not quell, as voice for voiceless did excel. She might not spell, but wrote so well to send exploiters straight to hell. Women's rise her poems foretell. Her children's books ring freedom bell. In them she rose and heroes dwell. She should have won the prize, Nobel. Thank you. And loss, I talked about my brother Chris, my mother, my brother Chris, loss, depression, sadness, hard to overcome sometimes. Recently, great folk singer John Fromer, who was really, really close to our family, grew up with him. The poet Carlos Ramirez, who I think there's a poetry reading tomorrow for. Daniel Del Solar was a friend of mine, very close friend of my sister Miranda's, and this is a poem about all the things he had. He had tapes, he had books, he had videos, he had photographs, he had so many things. This is the poem for Daniel Del Solar. The wretched refuse, Del Solar, of photos, books, and tapes, regularly stuffed into my car, rocks of all sizes, shapes. What can I say as I sit here at your table, Daniel friend, as we wade through so much stuff that never seems to end? We know that this is finite, but its mammothnesss astounds. We never guess what comes next, sheer magnitude abounds. In the end, most of us have much more than enough. Life is love and work, said Freud. but life is also stuff. And in talking to people I talk to closely about feelings, a therapist, looking for what's at the core of spiritual belief for me. It's not obviously normal Orthodox religion. I came to this poem, which I wrote a while ago. It's at the core, at the heart, what I like to call the spiritual bedrock. It's called Deep in My Heart. Deep in my heart, I do believe. The words ring out from We Shall Overcome with gospel certainty. Her voice inspires, awakens, sends beautiful, shivering vibrations up and down my spine. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We will end Jim Crow. We'll walk hand in hand. We shall live in peace. We are not afraid the whole wide world around. Deep in my heart, I know that I do believe we shall overcome someday, some way. These words still sing in my heart after all these years. Somehow these words remain as vital as ever. Still sing, still ring despite the loss and pain. These words still sing, still signify. Roar a Malcolm, soar a Martin King. Testify a Mahalia, shout an Aretha to the strength and endurance of the human spirit to throw off bondage, cut through the rope. These words still ring, never to abandon hope. For hope, it was said by an Emily D., hope perches in the soul and sings and never stops at all. My parents loved Paul Robeson, the great African-American singer, musicologist, athlete, lawyer, linguist, activist, and on and on. I was shown to him when I was a baby. When I was an early teenager, he came and sang at a church in San Francisco, and I shook his hand. His birthday happens to be April 9th, and it also happens to be the birthday of my sister Miranda, April 9th. So I'm going to read a poem that was actually sort of written by Pablo Neruda, the great Chilean poet. It's a little longer than the others I've done. It's also dedicated to Muhammad a life sentence, the man who had a life sentence in Qatar for a poem now reduced to 10 years, and for all the imprisoned poets. What remind me of his name, Jack?
Muhammad ibn al-Ajami.
Ajami, that's correct. That's what I was looking for. Names, I don't know what happened to names. Ode to Paul Robeson by Pablo Neruda, very freely translated and truncated by myself. And recited at Neruda Day that Jack and others called, which was October 30th at the Emerald Tablet in San Francisco. Once he did not exist, but his voice was there waiting. Light parted from chaos, earth from the primal waters, and the voice of Paul Robeson sang out to break the silence. Ever since then, you've been the voice of all people, the song of the ripening earth, the river, nature in motion, the ocean wave, the endless thunder of waterfall on rock, and the rock sang with the voice of the voiceless until all things, all people lifted their blood to the light in your voice, and earth and sky, fire and darkness and water rose up Robeson with your song. But later, the earth was bleak again. Fear, war, pain put out the green flame, the fire of the rose, heroic Spain and pain of Guernica. And over the cities a terrible dust fell, the ashes of the slaughtered. They went to the ovens, men, women, old, young in Poland, the Ukraine, Amsterdam, Prague. Then, Paul Robeson, you sang us Zognit Kenyama. Never say that you have reached the very end, though leaden skies a bitter future may portend. Again, over the earth was heard the powerful voice of the water over the fire. The solemn, unhurried, natural, pure voice of the earth, reminding us that we were still human beings, that we shared the sorrow and the hope. Your voice set us apart from the crime. Once more the light parted from darkness. Then silence fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Total silence. Not one forsaken bird to sing on an empty window. Not one mother with a wailing child. Not a single echo of a factory. Not a cry from a dying violin. Nothing. The silence of death fell from the sky. But again, father, brother, voice of humanity, redemption song, resounding, rebounding from the depths call you sang. Again, your river of a heart was deeper, was wider than the silence. Deep river. It would be no small thing if I crowned you king of Afro-America, as though you only sang for the darker children shackled by cruel slave masters. But no, Paul Robeson, you also sang with John Brown, covering the entire sky with your spiritual voice for the poor, whites, browns, indigenous, all peoples. Vietnam, 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 and all of Indochina. For the children, the children, the children, for the African-American youth shot down police close to every day in this country who are, as your sister singer Nina Simone sang, young, gifted, and black. You, Paul Robeson, are not silent when Juanita y Pedro put out into the street with their furniture in the rain, nor when neocon fanatics of the millennium sacrifice with fire and big lies millions of pulsing hearts from Timor to Iraq and Afghanistan, Africa, Egypt, Mali, the Congo, the Congo, the Congo. Your voice rings out for justice as the path to peace. And you never stop singing, as when in Chile wheat grows on volcanic land. Humanity fell and you raised us up. Chile, arise, you who refuse to be bond slaves. Chinese national anthem, slaves, and stand up and fight for liberty and true democracy, from the defeat at Moncada to Cuban revolutionary victory. Sometimes, Paul, you were a subterranean river, or the last wounded fork of lightning, the inextinguishable thunder. Sing for all those sleepless in prisons, awake at midnight, trapped between tortures. Sing, my friend, never stop singing. Sing, your voice unites tribes who never knew each other. All listen. And in prison or exile, Asada Shakur, Jamil Al-Amin, Mumi Abu Jamal, Leonard Peltier, prisoner hunger strikes from Pelican Bay and now Guantanamo, and in Palestine. Palestine, Palestine, Palestine. The courageous, the luminous hear the thunder, the resistance, the aching beauty of your song. Because you sing, they know that the sea exists and that the sea sings. They know that the sea is free, wide, and full of flowers, as is our voice, my comrades. The sun is ours, the earth will still be ours. Tower of the sea, you will go on singing. Tallest tree in our forest, you will go on singing. You, Paul Robeson, will go on singing. And we're getting there, we're coming down the home stretch. From Neruda to Venezuela. Sonnet for Hugo Chavez. It's rare someone like him comes out on stage to give democracy new lease on life. His charismatic power turned a page on foreign domination's greed and strife. His all-too-short lifespan expressed the times, born as CIA crushed Guatemala's dream, turned 20 to Chilean fascist crimes. He's later jailed in military scheme. But vision drawn from Simon Bolivar's took root amidst some strong election wins. A socialistic shout rose to the stars. A continental movement thus begins. He passes, but change is put in motion. Honor his huge courage and devotion. And I'm going to say, thank you, I'm going to say who says, and you're going to say Chavez. What hurts me most is poverty, and that's what led me to become a rebel. Who says?
Chavez.
Venezuela has changed forever. Who says?
Chavez.
The devil is right at home. The devil himself is right in the house. And the devil came here yesterday. Yesterday the devil came right here. And it smells like sulfur still today. Who says?
Chavez.
Capitalism is the way of the devil and exploitation. If you really want to look at things through the eyes of Jesus Christ, who I think was the first socialist, only socialism can really create a genuine society. Who says?
Chavez.
I have always said, have heard, that it would not be strange that there had been a civilization on Mars. But perhaps capitalism arrived there, imperialism arrived, and finished that planet. Who says?
Chavez.
droning on about the election. According to the New York Times, the United States has killed some 2,500 people in more than 300 drone strikes since President Obama took office, and it's many more by now. Sort of in the style of Langston Hughes. I heard the news Obama won on my smart-ass phone, but sorry, when I hear his name, out comes just one word, drone. Oh, sure, I know you'll tell me that I just piss and moan, but sorry, when I hear his name, I hear that one word, drone. Yes, he won the Nobel Prize for Peace, let it be known. But damn it, when I hear his name, out comes that one word, drone. Did he teach the Constitution? Then principles have flown. I fear that when I hear his name, I can see a drone coming ever nearer, blasting flesh and bone with USA upon it, remote-controlled death drone. Whether U.S. citizen or from a land unknown, forget the judge or jury, just kill them with a drone. The Holy Bible says, you reap what you have sown. There will be repercussions of murder with a drone. You can celebrate the feat of Mitt over coffee and a scone, but with every step I take, I'm thinking of a drone. And now a song by the entire group. Please pass out the paper. This song is to Bradley Manning. You probably know who Bradley Manning is, the young man. It's to the tune of Streets of Laredo. But you probably know that too. Okay, we're getting there. So my lineup is this song, a short poem, and a song at the close. And this is the Bradley Manning song to the tune of Streets of Laredo. Anybody wants to come and help me sing it, it's fine, but I'll start it and we can all sing. Okay? I sat down today thinking of Bradley Manning. Sat down to write him a song or a rhyme. When our times are written, he will be a hero, and those who would punish him, theirs is the crime. Bradley showed courage when still a young soldier. Then WikiLeaks spread his actions worldwide. No longer could empire hide all its secrets, crimes that big powers were trying to hide. 4 months they kept Bradley in solitary, stripped naked and not knowing of growing support. Protesters up, they improved his conditions, but they got him on trial in a kangaroo court. And let us remember not just Bradley Manning, but the millions of prisoners I'm sure you know. Many thousands in solitary all over this nation, in what has been called the new Jim Crow. So if you agree with the song I am singing, if you agree Bradley should be free, raise up a banner, sign a petition for Bradley Manning and our liberty. This is so sing the song loudly and protest so proudly. Shout for his freedom wherever you roam. Put bunches of roses all over the courtroom to welcome Bradley gladly back home. I sat down today thinking of Bradley Manning. Sat down to write him a song or a rhyme. When our times are written, he will be a hero, and those who would punish him, theirs is the crime. Thank you all. And now a very quick poem and then a song. Anna, would you please come up? Yeah, it'll be right after that. We gotta make sure our sound is here. Tell me if it's too loud. That's not loud enough?
Oh, yeah.
A little louder? Okay. How do I stop it? Okay. A very quick poem. I've talked a little bit about my brother Chris. He had a very close friend, Stephen Grossman, who was the first openly gay folk singer for a major label. And it was either Chris writing about Stephen's death or Stephen's line, but it's an incredible line that stays with me. And you'll hear it in the poem, and then there will be a song immediately after. The world's full of questions, no doubt about that. Marvels and mysteries, rabbit out of hat. Questions unanswered, no matter how we try. But only one question always makes me cry. From cradle to the grave, fortunes rise and fall. People love and work, backs against the wall. One fate awaits us, no others need apply. And only one question always makes me cry. Only one question to ask before we die. How many songs does it take to say goodbye? Love is the answer, or so the songs would say. War, torture, cancer, pushed the other way. The battle continues, on that we can rely. But only one question always makes me cry. Only one question to ask before we die. How many songs does it take to say goodbye? Bergman, my daughter, singer.
At last, people start to rise. Spark and in each other's eyes, yeah, at last, freedom's in the air. From Wall Street liberation places everywhere. We're in a world of war and trouble, a world of financiers have ruled. But freedom
Google Lincoln Bergman, YouTube, you'll get it. It's the only thing of ours up there. Anna made a beautiful slideshow of it. This was written just when Occupy began. And it just took root. The people were in the streets. I thought to myself, at last! And then I thought of the Etta James song, and the rest is history. Thank you.